Hello and welcome to this first look exploring session, looking at more Towneley plays. We're rattling through the last mystery plays overall. We've done 2 complete cycles already. We've done Endtown, we've done Chester. We are well into York. We're nearly finishing York, and we're about a third of the way, or will be about a third of the way through Towneley by the end of this session. Today we're doing plays 9 through 12, depending on the numbers you want to give the plays. It also depends on the ordering system you want to do with the plays as well. Other editions are available that look at the plays in a different order. So this is in manuscript order. The plays are not necessarily wholly chronological, and other versions do different things. We're following as our base text the Early English Text Society edition, though that's not necessarily the text that everybody in the room is actually reading, because they're reading a modernised alternative edition that has been prepared separately. That's, I think, everything. So we're looking at plays 9 through 12. We're starting with the play Caesar Augustus. And then we're going to go through, there's a bit of an Annunciation, depending on your point of view. There's a bit of Joseph and Mary, and there's Mary's salutation to Elizabeth, and then some shepherds, because shepherds are cool. Reading today, the Emperor Caesar, Deus, Elizabeth, and second shepherd is...
Hello, Angela, powerfully yours.
Reading first Counsellor, Sirinus, Mary in plays 10 and 11, depending on your numbering system, and first shepherd.
Liza Graham, humble, rustic, hand person.
Reading second Counsellor, Joseph, and third shepherd is...
Stephen Longstaffe, arrogant, urban, foot person.
And reading Nuncius, Gabriel, an angel who may also be Gabriel, Garcio, and Mary in the last play of the session is...
Hi, I'm Eric, and all these plays are still a mystery to me.
And I'm your host, Robert Crighton. I will be reading any stage directions that may come our way, if indeed any do, and waiting in the wings in case anybody's internet goes down. We have an alternative potential reader, just holding on there, who will introduce if is necessary. However, for this moment, we're going to dive into, play 9 or 7B, as another edition has it. Let's say this is about Caesar Augustus. I've encountered something similar in the Chester cycle. There's a bit of Caesar in there, though it's not given a complete play all of its own right. It's perhaps a little bit of backstory as we go into the Nativity. We're done with the Old Testament, we're into the New. Let's see how this goes. Let's hear from the Emperor and then the Emperor's counsellors.
Be still, Beshers, I command you that no man speak a word here now, but I myself alone. And if ye do, I make a vow, this brand about your neck shall bow. For ye be as still as stone, and look ye grieve me naught, for if you do, it shall be bought. I swear you by Mahown, I wot well that if you knew me aught to slow you all how little I wrought, stone still ye would sit down. For all is mine that upstands, castles, towers, towns, and lands, to me homage they bring. For I may bind and louse of band, everything bows unto my hand. I want none earthly thing. I am lord and sir over all bows to me, both great and small, as lord of every land. Is none so comely on to call, whoso this gainsays, foul shall befall. And thereto here my hand. For I am he that mighty is, and hardly all hathness is ready at my will, both rich and poor, more and less, at my liking, for to redress whether I will save or spill. Caesar Augustus I am called. A fair cause for to behold is not of blood and bone. Rich nay poor, young nay old, such another as I am told in all this world is none. But one thing does me full much care. I trow my land will soon misfare, for default of counsel lately. My counsellors, so wise of lair, help to comfort me of care. No whit from me ye fell. As I am man most of renown, I shall you give your wearisome to help me, if you may.
To counsel you, Lord, we are bound, and for no man that lives in town will we not let purfay. Your messenger I rede ye call for anything that may befall. Bid him go hastily throughout your lands over all, among your folk both great and small, your girth and peace to cry. For to command both young and old, none be so hardy, nay, so bold to hold of none but you. And whoso doth, put them in hold, and look ye pain them manyfold.
I shall. I make a vow of this counsel well paid am I. It shall be done full hastily, without any respite.
My lord, abide a while, for why a word to you I would clarify.
Do on then, tell me tight.
Already, lord, now, perma this have I heard, sin many day folk in the country tell, that in this land should dwell a May, the which shall bear a child, they say, that shall your force down fell.
Down fell? Devil, what may this be? Out, Harrow, full woe is me. I am full will of rede, a fie and devils. Whence cameth he that thus should reef me my paucity, ere should I by his deed? For certes then were my worship lorn, if such a swain, a snoke horn, should thus be my suffrain. May I wit when that boy is born, in certain, had the devil hit sworn that Gadling should again.
Oh, do way, Lord, grieve you not so. Your messenger ye cause forth go, after your cousin dear, to speak with you a word or two. The best counsel that lad to slow. Full soon he can you lear, for a wise man that knight men know.
Now I assent unto thy saw, if of wit that art thou the well, for all the boast men of him blows, he shall never destroy my laws, were he the devil of hell. Come, Lightfoot lad, look thou be yare on my message forth to fare. Go tight to Sir Sirin, say sorrow takes me full sare. Pray him to comfort me of care, as mine own dear cousin. And but if thou come again tonight, look I see thee never in sight, never where in my land.
Yes, certes, Lord, I am full light, or knowing the day, I dare you height to bring him by the hand.
Yea, boy, and as thou loves me dear, look that thou spy both far and near, over all in each place. If thou hear any saws, sir, of any carping, far and near, of that lad, where that thou goes.
Already, Lord, I am full bound to spire and spy in every town after that wicked Quaid. If I hear any brunk or round, I shall found to crack their crown over all in ilka stayed. And therefore, Lord, have now a good day.
Mahone, he wise thee on thy way, that wields water and wind, and specially here I thee pray to speed thee as fast as thou may.
Yes, Lord, that shall ye find. My hounds thee save and see, Sir Sirin. Caesar, my lord, and your cousin, he greets you well by me.
Oh, yes, there's an interesting thing. So, oh, no. Yeah, Sirinus. Who's Sirinus? Liza, yes. It's currently muted.
I missed it, sorry.
It's cool. It's a good thing just to note here. So yes, Emperor sent the messenger off to find this personage, and he's travelled presumably, and has now met you. So,
I'm the Emperor's cousin. Yes. Thou art welcome to me and mine. Come near and tell me tithings thine, tight what they may be.
My lord prays you as ye love him dear to come to him if your will were to speak with him a while.
Go greet him well, thou messenger. Say him I come, and that right near behind thee not a mile.
Already, lord, at your bidding. Mahound thee Mansk, my lord king, and save thee by sea and sand.
Welcome, Boucher. Say, what tithing? Do tell me tight for anything. What heard thou in my land?
I heard nothing, lord, but good. Sir, certain that after I yode, he will be here this night.
I thank thee by Mahound's blood. These tithings mickle amends my mode. Go rest, thou worthy wight.
Mahound, so seemly on to call, he save thee, lord of lords all, sitting with thy many.
Welcome, Sir Sirin, to this hall. Beside myself here sit thou shall. Come up, believe me.
Yes, lord, I am at your talent.
Wherefore, sir, I after thee sent, I shall thee say for right, and therefore take to me intent. I am in point for to be shent.
How so, for Mahound's might?
Sir, I am done to understand that a queen here in this land shall bear a child, I ween, that shall be crowned king, Lifand, and all shall bow until his hand. These tithings doth me tame. He shall command both young and old. None be so hardy, nay so bold to give service to me. Then would my heart be cold if such a beggar should my kingdom thus reave me. And therefore, sir, I would thee pray, thy best counsel thou would me say, to do what I am best. For securely, if that I may, if he be fondant, I shall him slay, either by east or west.
Now what, ye lord, what that I read? I counsel you, as eat I bread, what best thereof may be. Gar search your land in every stead, and bid that boy be done to dead, who the first may him see. And also I read that ye gar cry, to flame withal that Bellamy, that should be king with crown. Bid each man come to you wholly, and bring to you a headpenny, that dwells in tower or town. That this be done by the third day, then may none of his friends say, but he has made homage. If ye do thus, sir, per ma fe, your worship shall ye win for aye, if they make you troage.
I thank you, sir, as might I be, for these tithings that thou tells me. Thy counsel shall avail, lord and sire of this country. Without an end here make I thee for thy good counsel. My messenger, look thou be bound, and wend believe from town to town, and be my noble swain. I pray thee, as thou lovest Mahound, and also for thy werison, that thou come tight again. Command the folk, holy each one, rich me poor, nay poor, forget thou none, to hold holy on me, and lout me as their lord alone. And who will not, they shall be slown. This brand their bale shall be. Therefore thou bid both old and young that every man know me for his king. For dread that I them spill, that I am lord, and in tokening bid each man a penny bring, and make homage me still. To my statutes who will not stand fast, for to flee out of my land, bid them withouten light. Now by Mahound, God all Weldland, thou shalt be made knight with my hand, and therefore hie thee tight.
Already, lord, it shall be done, but I wot well I come not soon, therefore be not wroth. I swear you, sir, by sun and moon, I come not here before afternoon, whether ye be lief or loath. But have good day. Now will I wend for longer here, may I not lend, but grath me forth my gate.
Mahound that is courtesan hend, he bring thy journey well to end, and wish thee that all wote.
And thus ends Caesar Augustus. Yeah, it's interesting that we've got this sort of proto-Herod figure, pre-Heroding Herod, going on there. Liza.
Yeah, a couple of things jump out at me. One is that, now I don't know, I haven't done enough other cycles to know whether Caesar Augustus appears in many other cycles.
He's only in Chester. And it's not a complete it's just an episode within another play.
Yeah, so it's interesting that they have a lot of the Herod tropes associated with this character who's a Roman. So even though he could be swearing by Jove or something, they have him swear by Mahound, which tends to be the trope of Herod or of Saracens or even of Cain. Yeah, and the other thing is he explicitly declares a poll tax, a head penny, and that's sure to get a boo from your audience wherever Wakefield or Towneley or wherever we are. It's so that's a thing, isn't it? Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, after 1381, I'm sure it's always going to get a boo. Other thoughts in the room? It's an odd one. It's an odd one. As a separate narrative, if it was originally a separate narrative, it might be part of a larger play. It's not, because we have this journeying and back and forth to collect his, cousin and things, which we've seen in other larger scale plays where travelling is an important motif. That you have a number of people travelling, so that maybe the parallel is deliberate. Eric.
I was going to say that it's interesting that, he basically, the messenger just goes, hey, are you coming? Because the emperor is calling. And then basically he says yes. And that's the, you travel all that way just to say that, and then you have to travel all the way back.
And then he goes back and says he's on his way, and he says good, and then he appears. I mean, it is slightly odd. He could just be in the waiting room, couldn't he? You could move that on. So that's sort of why I'm sort of that springs to my mind. Any other thoughts? Because we're not going to linger on this one too long. I've got a little thing to say in a moment. But any other thoughts in the room about Caesar? I mean, he does his boast at the beginning. The usual stuff about do what I say or death. Nice chap. Liza.
Just briefly, I'm sure we will get Herod eventually. I know this in this cycle, but Augustus seems to command the slaughter of the innocents sort of before it's happened and before we even have any magi. So that's a thing.
Yeah, or at least he's laying down, getting some guidelines laid down for the eventuality where it's necessary. I don't know if he's committed the budget for it, but I think he's doing a survey of its a feasibility study on the slaughtering of innocents there. So there is just one other bit that's a bit like this that I'll just bring up now. So there's some fragmentary texts, and there's one called the Ashmole fragment that has a soldier talking to an emperor that may be from a similar situation as this. It may be a more Herody situation. But you've got Sire Emperor, dread ye no thing, if there be any fresh gedling that would your grieve with anything, in word or in deed. By the beard I shall him shake, that his skull shall to crake, and his soul from him take, and roast him over a glede. So nice chap there. We have recorded that speech separately on the podcast. Hopefully I'll put a link. Remember to put a link in the show notes. There's only another 4 lines of that, but I wouldn't want to spoil it all for you now, because that would might be too much text for you. That, I say, may be connected to this. It may be from a completely different thing. It may be more Herody, but it has this interesting parallel. So which has been noted before. We're now going to dive straight into play 10, or in other iterations, play 7C. But anyway, it follows directly on from Augustus in the manuscript, and it's the Annunciation, or at least it's we have some God, we have some Gabriel, we have some Mary. Let's see how this goes. Take it away, God.
Sithen I have made all thing of naught, and Adam with my hands hath wrought, like to mine image at my device, and given him joy in paradise, to one therein as that I wend, to that he did that I defend. Then I put him out of that place, but yet I height him grace. Oil of mercy, I can him hate, and time also his bale to bait. For he has bought his sin full sore, these 5,000 years and more. First in earth, and sithen in hell, but long therein shall he not dwell. Out of pain he shall be bought. I will not time that I have wrought. I will make redemption as I height for my prison. All with reason and with right, both through mercy and through might. He shall not therefore I be spilt, for he was wrang-wisely beguilt. He shall out of prison pass, for that he beguiled was, through the adder and his wife. They gart him touch the tree of life, and eat the fruit that I forbid. And he was damned for that deed. Right wiseness will we make. I will that my son manhead take, for reason will that there be three, a man, a maiden, and a tree. Man for man, tree for tree, maiden for maiden, thus shall it be. My son shall in a maiden light, against the fiend of hell to fight, without and wem as sun through glass, and she, maiden as she was, both God and man shall he be, and she, mother and maiden free. To Abraham I am in debt to save him and his get, and I will that all prophecy be fulfilled here by me. For I am Lord and Lech of Hail, my prophet shall be found and Lael. As Moses said, and Isaiah, King David and Jeremy, Habakkuk and Daniel, Sibyl sage that say I well, and mine other prophets all, as they have said, it shall befall. Rise up, Gabriel, and wend unto a maiden that is hend to Nazareth in Galilee. There she dwells in that city, to that virgin and to that spouse, to a man of David's house. Joseph also he is named by, and the maiden name Mary. Angel must to Mary go, for the fiend was Eve foe. He was foul and laith to sight, and thou art angel, fair and bright. And hails that maiden, my leman, as hendly as thou can. Of my behalf thou shall her greet. I have her chosen, that maiden sweet. She shall conceive my darling, though through her thy word and her hearing. In her body will I light, that is to me cleanly dight. She shall of her body bear God and man without and dear. She shall be blessed without an end. Grace thee, Gabriel, and wend.
Hail Mary gracious, hail maiden and God's spouse, unto thee I lout. Of all virgins thou art queen, that ever was or shall be seen without any doubt. Hail Mary, and well thou be, my Lord of heaven is with thee without an end. Hail woman of most of meed, goodly lady, have thou no dread that I commend. For thou hast found in all thine one the grace of God that was outgone for Adam plight. This is the grace that thee betides. Thou shalt conceive within thy sides a child of might. When he is come, that thy son, he shall take circumcision, call him Jesum. Mightful man shall be he that, and God's son shall he had by his day come. My Lord also shall give him till his father's seat, David at will therein to sit. He shall be king in Jacob kin, his kingdom shall never blin. Lady, well thou wit.
What is thy name?
Gabriel, God's strength and his angel that comes to thee.
Fairly greeting thou me greets. A child to bear, thou me heats? How should it be? I came never by man's side, but has avowed my maidenhead from fleshly get. Therefore I wot not how that this be broken as a vow that I have het. And nevertheless, well I wot, to work thy word and hold thy oath. Mightful God is, but I ne wot of what manner. Therefore I pray thee, messenger, that thou me wish.
Lady, this is the private. The Holy Ghost shall lighten thee, and his virtue shall unshade and fulfill, that thy maidenhead shall never spill, but I be new. The child that thou shalt bear, madam, shall God's son be called by name. And see, Mary, Elizabeth, thy cousin that is called Geld, she has conceived a son in Eld of Zachary. And this is who shall let the 6th month of her concitiate, that Geld is called. No word, lady, that I thee bring is unmightful to heaven king, but all shall hold.
I love my lord all Wealdend. I am his maiden at his hand and in his wold. I trow bode word that thou me bring. Be done to me in all thing as thou hast told.
Mary maidenhead, me behoves to wend. My leave of thee I take.
Fare to, my friend, who can thee send for mankind's sake?
And just a note here that some editions then split the text in slightly different ways here. The original manuscript just continues on into Joseph's trouble with Mary. So this carries straight on in the text. Joseph enters.
Almighty God, what may this be? Of Mary, my wife, marvels me. Alas, what has she wrought? Ah, the body is great, and she with child. For me was she never filed, therefore mine is it naught. Full sore with my life, that ever I wed so young a wife, that bargain may I ban. To me it was a careful deed. I might well wit that youthede would have liking of man. I'm old, soothly to say. Past I am all purvey play. The game's from me are gone. It is ill coupled of youth and eld, I wot well, for I am unwelled, some other she's ta'en. She's with child, I wot never how. Now who would any woman trow? Certes, no man that can any good. I wot not in the world what I should do. Now then, will I wend her to, and wit who owe that food. Well, Mary, well you be. I but woman, what cheer with thee?
The better, sir, for you.
So would I, woman, that ye wore. Certes, Mary, I rue full sore it stands so with thee now. But of a thing frame thee I shall. Who, oh, this child thou goes withal?
Sir, ye and God of heaven.
Mine, Mary, do weigh thy din, that I should ought have part therein that thou needs it not to Nevern. Where two Neverns thou meet, there too, I'd never with thee to do. How should it then be mine? Whose is the child, so God thee speed?
Sir, God's and yours, without and dread.
That word had thou to time, for it is right full far me fro. And I forethinks thou hast done so, these ill deeds bedeen. And if thou speak thyself to spill, it's so full sore against my will. Better might it be.
At God's will, Joseph, must it be, for certainly but God and ye, I know no other man, for fleshly I was never filed.
How should thou thus then be with child? Excuse thee well like thou can. I blame thee not, so God may say. Woman manners, if that thou have, but certes I say thee this, well wot thou, and so do I. The body fames thee openly that thou hast done amiss.
Yea, God he knows all my doing.
Now, this is a wonder thing. I can not say thereto, but in my heart I have great care, and I the longer mayor and mayor. But dole, what shall I do? God's and mine, she says it is. Will not father it, she says amiss. For shame, yet should she let to excuse her villainy by me? With her I think no longer be, for who that ever we met. And how we met ye shall wit soon. Men use young children for to do in temple for to lear. So did they her to she wex more than other maidens wise of law. Then bishops said to her, Mary, thee behoves to take some young man to be thy make, as thou says other hain in the temple which thou wilt never. And she said, none but God of heaven. To him she had her ta'en. She would none other for any sort. She said she must. They said she must. It was the law. She was of age there till. To the temple they summoned old and young, all of Judah offspring, the law for to fulfill. Gave each man a white wand, and bade us bear them in our hand to offer with good intent. They offer their yeards up in that tide. I was old, I stood beside. I wist not what they meant. They liked one, they said in high. All had offered, they said, but I. For I withdrew me. Forth with my wand they made me come. In my hand it flourished with bloom. Then said they all to me, thou behold, marvel not thee, for God of heaven thus ordains he. Thy wand shows openly, it flourishes so without a nay, that thee behoves wed Mary the man. Sorry man then was I was full sorry in my thought. I said, for old I might naught, her have never the wedder. I was unlikely to her so young. They said, there, help none excusing, and wed us thus together. When I all thus had wed her there, we in four maidens home can fare, that king's daughters wear. All wrought this silk to find them on. Mary wrought purple, the other none, but other colours, sir. I left them in good peace. Wend I into the country, I went on high, my craft to use with main. To get our living I must need. On Mary I prayed them, take good heed, to that I come again. 9 months was I fro that mild. When I came home, she was with child. Alas, I said, for shame. I asked a woman who that had done. They said to me, an angel soon since that I went from home. An angel spake with that white, and no man else by day nor night. Sir, thereof be ye bold. They excused her thus soosely to make clean of her folly. And baby said me that was old. Should an angel this deed have wrought? Such excusing helps not, for no craft that they can. A heavenly thing, forsooth, is he, and she is earthly. May not be. It is some other man. Certes, I forethink sore of her deed. It is long of used. All such wanton plays, for young women will needs play them with young men. Old forsake them. Thus it is seen always. But Mary and I played never so same. Never together we used that game. I came her never so near. She is as clean as crystal cliff for me. Shall be whilst I live. But all will it be so? Then am I cause of her deed. Well, thee, then can I now no read. Alas, what am I woe? And soothly, if it so befall God's son that she be withal, such grace might betide. I wot well that I am not he which that is worthy to be that blessed body beside, nor yet to be in company. To wilderness I will, for thee, enforce me for to fare. Never longer with her deal. Stilly shall I from her steal, but meet shall we no more.
Do what, Joseph, and mend thy thoughts. I warned thee well, and went thou not to wilderness so wild. Turn home to thy spouse again. Look thou deem in her no train, for she was never filled. Wight thou no working of works wast. She has conceived the Holy Ghost, and she shall bear God's Son. Forth thee with her in thy degree, meek and buxom look thou be, and with her dwell in one.
Oh Lord, I love thee all alone, that vouchsafe that I be one to tend that child so young. I, that thus have ungrassly gone and untruly taken upon Mary, that dear darling. My rueful saw that I have said, of her birding or upbraid, and she not guilty is. Thee to her now will I wend, and pray her for to be my friend, and ask her forgiveness. My Mary, wife, what cheer?
Ah, the better, sir, that ye are here. Thus long where have ye lent?
Certes, walked about like a fawn, rang wisely as taken upon. I wist never what I meant. But I wot well, my lemon free, I have trespassed to God and thee. Forgive me, I thee pray.
Now all that ye ever said me to, God forgive you, and I do, with all the might I may.
Gramercy, Mary, thy good will so kindly forgives that I said ill when I can be upbraid. Well is him as such a food, meat wife withouten good, he may well hold him paid. Ah, what I am light as land, he that may both loose and bind, and every miss amend, lend me grace, power and might, my wife and her sweet young wight, to keep to my life's end.
And thus, in the manuscript ends that play of the Annunciation that also includes Joseph. The reason why other editions label them different ways is because what's about to follow is Mary's salutation to Elizabeth, which might logically fit better between the Annunciation and Joseph's trouble with Mary. It may be a quirk of the manuscript, it may be a quirk of the plays, it may just be an error. But anyway, that's the ordering that we're following. We're just following what the manuscript does. There's interesting things going on with Joseph and Mary there. It's interesting comparing this with York, which we did quite recently, where it's sort of Joseph's journey is slightly the other way around. He starts in York with a very long speech and then has a relatively short one before the angel appears, whereas here it's the other way around, relatively shortish opening gambit. And then he does this whole stand-up routine about how he got married. I don't think that's fair. It's not quite a stand-up routine. But being unfair. But yes, expounding upon what you can watch in the End Town sequence, how he ends up married to Mary. So yeah, this play is doing all sorts of things. It's doing it in quite a nice way. I'm quite liking Joseph in this one. I don't know, Stephen. You do you disagree?
It sort of does a real 180 though, doesn't it? About sort of 10 lines from the end, he goes, "Oh well, but God actually, yeah, fair enough, you know."
Well, there was an angel, you know.
Yeah, I missed that bit.
Yeah.
To buy an angel, Eric.
Yeah, Eric spoke to you and said, "Mend your thought." You know, there was a visitation, mate.
No, but before that, he says,
right.
"Soothly, if it's so before God's Son that she be with all, if such grace might betide our what well that I am not he." So he's already talking like he's seen the angel, but that's a bit of a sort of screech of the tires for me. The thing I was interested in was what he said later when he says, "I've been walking around like a fom, like an idiot." So that to me is it's a really nice, you know, it's comedy raging in the street, isn't it? You know, he's off the platform and he's walking around sort of talking to everybody, going, you know, "This is terrible. Young women, they're terrible, aren't they? And I'm old, and it's not fair, but it's the way, isn't it? You know." So it's one of those. It's what happens though in these sorts of plays, isn't it? It happens in Shepherd's plays as well. You know, 1 minute they're making kind of, you know, naughty Blackadder sheep jokes, and the next minute they're kind of taken over by divine inspiration and start being all holy on you.
Angela.
I was interested though. I mean, I thought Joseph was fabulous in this. I did find it tremendously engaging. So what my understanding was, but you read it, so you saw those words better than me, is that he says there's a kind of irony there, which is, and if it's true that she's got, you know, she's actually got God's son, well, I'm not the man that should be lying with her, so I'm going to push off and have nothing more to do with it. So it's not like he says, "I'll look after her." So I wondered if there was a kind of, that was irony.
Probably, yes.
You're probably right, yes. I've missed it.
Yes, we forget that sometimes the old plays will do irony and do sarcasm and do these things because we think, oh no, everybody speaks the truth all the time. That's how they work. Unless they're evil, in which case we know they signpost their lying in overt ways. Liza doing a visual demonstration there of lying. That's what all lying looks like. There we are. Other thoughts before we dip into the relatively short meeting with Elizabeth, which was prefigured earlier and might live earlier in a more sensible ordering system? No. Okay, let's dip into then play 11 or 7D. Heaven help us all. Mary's salutation of Elizabeth. So this is, I think it's just a two-hander. I think it's just Mary and Elizabeth have a little chat. So take it away, Mary.
My Lord of heaven that sits high, and all things sees with eye, thee save, Elizabeth.
Welcome, Mary, blessed bloom. Joyful am I of thy come to me from Nazareth.
How stands it with you, Dame of Quart?
Well, my daughter and dear heart, as can for mine. Well, my daughter and dear heart, as can for mine eld.
To speak with you methought full lang, for ye with child in eld gang, and ye be called geld.
Full long shall I thee better be, that I may speak my fill with thee. My dear kinswoman, to wit how thy friends fare in thy country where they are, thereof tell me thou can, and how thou fares, my dear darling.
Well, Dame, gramercy you're asking, for good I wot ye speer.
And Joachim, thy father at hame, and Anna, my niece, and thy dame, how stands it with him and her?
Dame, yet are they both on life, both Joachim and Anna his wife.
Else were my heart full sore.
Dame, God that all may yield you that ye say, and bless you therefore.
Blessed be thou of all women, and the fruit that I well ken within the womb of thee. And this time may I bless that my Lord's mother is comen thus unto me. For sin that time full well I wot that Stephen of Angel voice it smote, and rang now in mine ear. A selke thing in me betide, the child makes joy as any bird that I in body bear. And as Mary, blessed be thou, that steadfastly would trow the words of our heaven King. Therefore, all thing now shall be kenned that unto thee were said or send by the angel greeting.
Magnificat anima mea Dominum, my soul loves my Lord above, and my ghost glads with love in God that is my heel, for he has beseen again the buxomness of his bane, and kept me maiden leal. Lo, thereof what me shall betide, all nations on every side blessed shall me call. For he that is full of might, mickle thing to me has dight, his name be blessed over all. And his mercy is also from kind to kind, till all tho that are to him dreadand. Might in his arms he wrought, and destroyed in his thought proud men and high barand. Mighty men forth of seat he did, and he heightened in that stead the meek men of heart. The hungry with all good he filled, and left the rich out shield them to unquart. Israel under law his own son in his awe by means of his mercy, as he told before by name to our father Abraham, and seed of his body. Elizabeth, mine aunt dear, my leave I take at you here, for I dwell now full lang.
Will thou now go, God's fear? Come kiss me, daughter, with good cheer, or thou hence gang. Farewell now, thou freely food. I pray thee be of comfort good, for thou art full of grace. Greet well all our kin of blood, that Lord that thee with grace enfood, he save all in this place.
And thus ends that little visit. It's like any visit to your aunt, really, isn't it? How's your mum and dad? They're okay, yeah. It's nice. You're with child, even though that wasn't on the cards, was it? No, it's going well. God, isn't God great? It's an odd little. I've always found that the I know why it's here, but I've always found it as a subject for drama quite low stakes.
Yeah, I think to have that boy actor say the words of the Magnificat must be the centerpiece, right?
Well, I mean, it's so short as well. I mean, it may fit in, obviously, with the earlier, may logically fit in as a sequence with the earlier bits we were looking at. But, it's only 90 lines long. So, it's such a tiny little thing that, yes, you need that. I think you're right that it needs something in the middle of using the Magnificat as a music cue. Other thoughts, Angela?
For some reason, in my head, I've got one of those Fra Angelico paintings, with that's got the white staff with the lily coming off from the top of it. Never really taken that on board before. And then, this scene is happening. Either Mary's being told, or Elizabeth's being told, or somebody's being told, and it's just all these favourite people, because like Anne and Joachim, none of them are in the Bible, but they're all such favourites, aren't they, in medieval religion and so on. So here they all are kind of emerging out of this scene. So it's a bit of a chance to kind of like just recite all those names that everybody loves.
Mm. And, we don't have that sequence of Mary's young life in this play, but it does exist. It exists in N Town. And there's no guarantee that wherever this particular bit came from, that it didn't incorporate other bits about Mary's life. That, maybe that's not just a name check, that's actually a callback to a earlier material that people might have seen. Yes, we got a note from the chat that Joachim and is indeed biblical. Just for clarity there. Eric.
I was going to say that it's interesting what this play is doing. I don't know if it happened in the previous one, but this one, it was more striking. Where the rhyme is just like, it just flows so well compared to the York cycle where you've got like the alternating rhyme. This is just like dub. I don't know. It's like A, B, A, B, A. I don't know, it's just kind of weird, but like, yeah, it's just interesting, sort of the way, like, we've done a lot compared to like what we did this afternoon, and it still flows very, very quickly. At least I feel like we did.
Yeah, I mean, none of the texts that, we've done a number of episodes, depending on how you want to divide it, and they're all quite short and pithy, and they really get on with it. And I don't want to directly compare this with other plays too much, but there's a sense that there's a real pacing that's being deliberately worked here in a nice way. Any other thoughts before we dip into our final play of the session, but a reasonably long one? Liza.
One tangential little thought, which, I don't know, when Joseph realizes that he was wrong earlier in the Mary and Joseph play, Joseph realizes that he was wrong to doubt Mary, and he comes and he asks for her forgiveness. And she says, "God forgive you and I do," which I think is quite a nice way of putting it. But the author that I can remember using that formula most often is Mallory, who's, I don't know, it's interesting to see that little parallel between these two Northern Middle English authors. Or Mallory was more Midlandish, really, than North.
Okay. Other thoughts? Otherwise, we will have to dive in because, as I say, it's a long old play. Is this next one coming up? So, okay, we are going to go into play 12 or 8, depending on your point of view. Sigh. And it's a shepherd's play. It's as we're going to now begin a shepherd's play and see what goes on. We've got several shepherds. We've got a boy. We've got an angel, and we've got Mary. So it should all hopefully come together. We're going to be introduced to the shepherds one by one. First one shepherd, then another. They're going to chat for a bit, and a third will enter, so that you have a sense of where it's all going to go and how it's all going to fit together. So first shepherd, take it away.
Lord, what they are well that hence are past, for they not feel them to downcast. Here is mickle unseal, and long as it last. Now in heart, now in hail, now in wet, now in blast, now in care, now in comfort again. Now is fair, now is rain, now is heart full fain, and after full sere. Thus this world, as I say, fares on ilka side, for after our play comes sorrows unride. He that most may when he sits in pride, when it comes on assay, is casten down wide. This is seen. When richest is he, then comes poverty. Horseman Jack Copey walks then, I ween. Thank it God. Hark ye what I mean, for even or for odd I have mickle teen. As heavy as a sod I grate with mine eyen when I nap on my cod for care that has been and sorrow. All my sheep are gone. I am not left one. The rot has them slown. Now beg I and borrow. My hands may I wring and mourning make, but if goodwill spring, the country forsake. Firms thick are coming, my purse is but weak. I have near hand nothing to pay nor to take. I may sing with purse penniless that makes me this heaviness. Woe is me, this distress, and has no helping. Thus set I my mind truly to Neven by my wit to cast the world in seven. My sheep have I teemed by the morn full even. Now if hap will grind, God send from his heaven some grace. To the fair will I me, to buy sheep perdie, and yet may I multiply for all this hard case.
Benstay, bias in mang, and save all that I see here in this thrang. He save you and me, over twart and endlang that hang on a tree. I say you no rang. Christ save us from all mischiefs, from robbers and thieves, from those men's griefs that oft are against us. Both boasters and braggers, God keep us fro, that with their long daggers does mickle woe. From all bill-haggers with coal knives that go, such riers and raggers go to and fro for to crack. Who says him again were better be slain, both plough and wain amends will not make. He will make it as proud a lord as he were, with a heed like a cloud felted his hear. He speaks on loud with a grim bear. I would not have trowed so gaily in gear as he glides. I wot not the better, nor whether is greater the lad or the master, so stoutly he strides. If he ask me aught that he would go to his pay, full dear bays it bought, if I say nay. But God, that all wrought, to thee now I say, help that they were brought to a better way for their souls, and send them good mending, with a short ending, and with thee to be lending, when that thou calls. How, Gib, good morn, whither goes thou? Thou goes over the corn. Gib, I say, how?
Who is that? John Horn, I make God avow. I say not in scorn, John, how fares thou?
Hey, are ye in this town?
Yea, by my crown.
I thought by your gown this was your array.
I am ever alike. What I never what it gars is none in this Reich a shepherd fares worse.
Poor men are in the dyke, and oftentimes Mars. The world is slake, also helpers is none here.
It is said full rife, a man may not wife, and also thrive also in a year.
First must us creep and sithen go.
I go to buy sheep.
Nay, not so. What, dream ye or sleep? Where should they go? Here shall thou none keep.
Ah, good sir, ho! Who am I? I will pasture my fee wheresoever likes me. Here shall thou them see.
Not so hardy. Not one sheep-tail shall thou bring hither.
I shall bring no fail 100 together.
What art thou in ale? Longs thou aught weather?
They shall go, sans fail. Go now, bellwether.
I say tear.
I say tear now again. I say skip o'er the plain.
Would thou never so faint up, I say, wire.
What, wilt thou not yet, I say, let the sheep go? Whoop!
Abide yet.
Oh, wilt thou but so? Knave, hence I bid thee flit. As good that thou do, or I shall thee hit on thy pate. Lo, shalt thou reel. I say, give the sheep space.
Huh.
I'm just going to pause here because there's lots of interesting business going on here that I go to want to unpack. And
imaginary sheep.
Lots of adventure. Well, I just love the way the second shepherd sort of goes. Because if this is a street context, where are your sheep going to go? There's no room here. It's among the audience with all these people in front of us. You can't have sheep. That's just crazy talk. So this sort of question of how this functions in a theatrical world, I really like. First Shepherd's not in a great place. Your sheep have died of hoof rot. I'm sorry, you haven't really been looking after them properly, have you? I don't think you should buy any more sheep. You're clearly incompetent.
Well, let's let the sheep shop make that decision.
They don't care. They just want to sell the sheep.
It's true. Maybe there should be like a farm inspection or something.
Yeah.
It's possible that he just can't. That he has the bad land with the poor drainage, and the poor sheep are standing in the mud, and their hoofs are all rotten. It's very sad.
Yeah. But yeah, the second shepherd, you don't get an impression that their life is bad. I mean, there's no detail, but it seems quite cheerful mood.
He just is a bit of a troublemaker, really. He's like blessing everybody one minute and then saying to somebody, they can't do it.
Yeah. Christ save us. It's always nice when the shepherds are calling on Christ this early in the narrative. Always nice.
Particularly because he hasn't been born yet.
No. Well, they know, in theory, that they know the Christ is on its way. Hopefully, hopefully there will be a Messiah. So they've read the prophecies because they're usually very well read. Are these shepherds? Yeah, Eric.
Yeah, just like basically the idea that the second shepherd is like, you can't park your sheep here. This is no place for sheep. This is my sheep territory. You can't park your sheep here.
Pulls on a traffic warden hat and just go, no, sorry. Right, I'm enjoying this so far. Fun shepherd time. Let us, however, move on. So we are about to have the arrival of a third shepherd. Second shepherd announces their arrival with their next line.
Sir, a letter of your grace. Here comes slow pace for the Milnes wheel.
What a do is this you between? Good day, thou and thou.
Hark what I mean you to say. I was bound to buy store, drove my sheep me before. He says not one whore shall pass this way, but and he were wood, this way shall they go.
Yea, but tell me good. Where are your sheep, Lo?
Now, sir, by my hood, Yet see I no more, no, not sin I here stood.
God give you woe and sorrow. You fish before the net, and strife on this bet. Such fools never I met, even at morrow. It's a wonder to wit where wit should be found. Here are old knaves yet stands on this ground. These would, by their wit, make a ship be drowned. They were well quit at sold for £1, such two. They fight and they flit, for that it comes not tight. It's far to bid height to an egg or it go. Titter want ye soul, then sorrow I pray. Ye braid of mole that went by the way. Many sheep can she poll, but one had she a. But she happened full foul. Her pitcher, I say, was broken. Oh God, she said, but one sheep yet she had. Milk pitcher was laid, the scarfs was the token. Listen, ye are bare of wisdom to know. Take heed how I fare, leer at my law. You need not to care if you follow my saw. Hold ye my mare, this seek thou throw, on my back, whilst I with my hand lost the sec band. Come now, and by stand, both jig and jack. Is not all shaken out, and no meal is therein?
Yea, that is no doubt.
Those your wits thine, and ye look well about, neither more nor mine. So goes your wits out, even as it come in. Gather up and seek it again.
May we not be fain? He has told us full plain, wisdom to sup.
Now God give you full care, fools all same. So I never none so fair, but the fools of Gotham. Woe is her that you bear your sire and your dam. Had she brought forth an hare, a sheep or a lamb had been well. Of all the fools I can tell, from heaven unto hell, ye three bear the bell. God give ye unsell.
How pastures our fee? Say me, good pen.
They are graced to the knee.
Fair fall thee.
Amen. If ye will, ye may see the beasts ye can.
Sit we down all three, and drink, shall we then?
Yea, turd, I'm lever eat. What is drink without meat? Get meat, get, and set us aboard. Then may we go dine, our bellies to fill.
Abide into sin, sign.
By God, sir, I nil. I'm worthy the wine. We think it good skill my service I tine. Fair fall ill at your manger.
Trust, go we to meat. It is best that we treat. I list not to plead that stand in thy danger. Thou hast ever been cursed since we met together.
Now, in faith, if I durst, ye're even my brother.
Sirs, let us crib first for one thing or another, that these words be pursed, and let us go further. Our mompins lay forth of our store. Lo, here, brown of a boar.
Set mustard to fore, our meat now begins. Here, a foot of a cow, well sauced I ween. The pizzle of a sow that powdered has been. 2 bloodings, I trow, a levering between. Do gladly, sirs, now, my brother Bedeen, with more, both beef and mutton, of a ewe that was rotten. Good meat for a glutton, eat of this store.
I have here in my mail southern and roast even of an oxtail that would not be lost. Ha ha, God hail, I let for no cost a good pie, or we fail. This is good for the frost in the morning. And 2 swine groanies, all a hare but the lonies. We Mr. No Sponies here at our munging.
Here is to record the leg of a goose, with chickens endured, pork, partridge to roast, tart for a lord. How think ye this dois? A calf liver scored with the very ois, good sauce. This is a restority to make a good appetite.
Ye speak all by clergy. I hear by your clause. Could ye by your gramarye reach us a drink? I should be more merry, you wot what I think.
Have good ale of Helle. Beware now, I wink, for and thou drink dryly in thy pole will it sink.
Ah, so, this is boat of our bale, good wholesome ale.
Ye hold long the scale, now let me go too.
I shrew those lips, but thou leave me some part.
By God, he that sips, beguiled thou art. Behold how he kips.
I shrow you so smart, and me on my hips, but if I gart a bait, be thou wine, be thou ale, but if my breath fail, I shall set thee on sail. God send thee good gate.
By my damned soul, Alice, who is sadly drunken.
Now as ever I have bliss, to the bottom it is sunken.
Yea, a bottle here is.
Yea, that is well spoken. By my thrift we must kiss.
That had I forgotten, but hark, whoso can best sing shall have the beginning.
Oh, now praise at the parting, I shall set ye on work. We have done our part, and sungen right well. I drink for my part.
Abide, let's cock rail.
God's for both thou spart, and thou drink every dale.
Thou hast drunken a quart, therefore choke thee the devil.
Thou, Rafus, and it were for a sow there is drink enow.
I shrew the hands it drow, ye be but knaves.
Nay, we knaves all, this think me best, so sir should ye call.
Let it rest, we will not brawl.
Then would I we feast, this meat who shall into pannier cast.
Yes, for our souls let us do, poor men, give it too.
Gather up, lo, ye hunger beggars, frères.
Drays near night. Truce, go we to rest. I am even ready dight, I think it best.
Where do we be fright? Across, let us cast. Christ cross, Benedict, east and west for dread. Jesus, Onosaurus, Crucifixius, Morsus, Andreas. God be our speed.
And we'll just pause there as presumably they all go and have a nap. So lots of questions about this little sequence here. There is the suggestion that Garcio is not an additional character. It's simply an alternative name for the third shepherd. So I'm just throwing that into the room as a spanner in the works. I just thought we'd let that one flow and see how that goes. But we've got a feast that's being eaten here, or is it? Do they actually have all the food that they're talking about, or do they just have a tiny hunk of bread and they're just pretending? They clearly have a bottle of something, and there's some competition as to who's going to get access to it or how that's going on. So yeah, lots of options there, of which I'm not sure what is true and what is not. As ever, with the absence of any actual stage directions, we have to infer what is or what is not. Thoughts on the room? Liza?
There's definitely, I realized as I was saying it, there's definitely a point where there's a break for a song, saying, in the first shepherd, I shall set you on work, stanza break. We have done our part and sung in right well.
Yeah.
So you only have my slowness of mind to thank that I did not, in fact, sing you a song at that point.
Well, next time. Yeah, but it might be that the others are expected to step in. No, hang on. It's once I've sung, we decide who gets to drink. Or is that what's going on? I genuinely don't know, because there's a lot of options here, and I'm not quite sure without more detail. Other thoughts? Who wants to leap in? Stephen, then Eric.
I'm a bit hazy on the more famous second shepherds, but I think they have a prayer before they lie down, don't they, as well? I think
They do. I think they invoke Jesus, who is not born yet.
Well, Well, they talk about Christ and his cross, so here, so it's a similar thing. I will skip ahead to the other shepherd's play. Yes,
it's a little bit of, ritual magic in a religious way that was very kind of typical, that sort of thing. Stephen, you look dubious.
No, I'm not dubious at all. It's just because I'm so frivolous, I don't think I would go, comedy business.
It's comedy business, but it also recalls to me, again, the other shepherd's play when Mac casts a magic circle to make the shepherds sleep. And here they cast a cross to protect them from evil while they sleep. So that's an interesting little communication between the two.
They definitely do a bit of singing in the other one as well.
They do.
I haven't found a prayer, but that doesn't mean it is not there. I just haven't found it. Anyway, other thoughts, Eric?
I was going to say that it seems very sort of, obviously these are shepherds, not sort of like nobles or anything. So it seems very sort of conversational. I don't know if that's just because of the way Stephen and Liza and Angela were performing it, but it just seems very sort of like, hey, you're here. What are you doing here? Get out of here. And it's like sort of this mini territorial conflict, and then sort of, let's go drinking together. Yeah, this is a good idea. It just feels very sort of light.
Yeah, that they all sit down and they're going to share what they've got, which again raises that question of how much food they actually have. And which is why the ale is the element there that seems, or whatever's in the bottle is just going, that's the good stuff. Which and considering how down and out potentially the first shepherd is, that and we don't really get any indication that anyone actually has any sheep. Is that these could be more? They feel more like tramps. It's feeling much more like Waiting for Godot than it is Cheerful Nativity. That basically they're sitting here with what have they got? They've got no food and a bottle of antifreeze. And they go, well, you sing first to see whoever sings best gets to go blind first. I don't know if I'm being really cynical on this reading of it. Stephen.
Well, just to support that, really, the third shepherd said, "Here is to record the leg of a goose," which sounds like a sort of somebody who's picking up on a sort of improv thing here. I wish to certify that I have the leg of a goose. And they're just kind of passing the idea backwards and forwards. So you could do that in performance, certainly.
Yeah, and the way that they're doing this sort of slightly highfalutin, sort of almost legal speak as well. I hereby your clause. It's like this is all a game rather than they're actually sitting down and having a picnic.
Yes, you picture the food vendors on the other side of the square doing quite a good business after this. But I wonder if it's a cow. If it's a clown, well, a neat's foot, people liked neat's feet. I wonder if it's a clown thing, or if this particular team of clowns was renowned for mime, as it were, with the invisible sheep and the invisible picnic.
Yeah,
let's just donate all this to the poor.
Yeah,
all of it?
Yeah. Whereas, the earlier bit when we were talking about invisible sheep, we'd get the audience to do it, and just you can almost imagine them just go bah, bah, get the audience to play along. But there's something very performative-y about all of this. Okay, we have more. There is more to come. For they have all gone to sleep with this rather, nicely anachronistic call on Christ, which again feels very clowny, actually, even though, within the bounds of good taste. And then an angel appears, and sleep, shepherds.
Hearken, herds, wake. Give loving ye shall. He is born for your sake. Lord perpetual, he is come to take and ransom you all your sorrow for to slake. King imperial, he behests that child is born at Bethlehem this morn. Ye shall find him before and betwixt two beasts.
Ugh. God's dear Dominus, what was that song? It was wonder curious, with small notes among. I pray to God save us now in this throng. I am feared by Jesus something be wrong. Methought one screamed on loud. I suppose it was a cloud. In mine ears it soughed by him that me brought.
Nay, that may not be. I say you certain. He spake to us three as he had been a man. When he lemmed on this lea, my heart shaked then. An angel was he, tell you I can, no doubt. He spake of a bairn, we must seek him. Are you warned that betokens yon star that stands yonder out?
'Twas marvel to see, so bright as it shone. I would have trowed verily it had been thrown or flown, but I saw with mine eye, as I leaned to this stone. It was a merry glee, such heard I never none. I record, as he said in a scream, or else that I dream, we should go to Bedlam to worship that Lord.
That same child is he that prophets of told should make them free that Adam had sold.
Take tent unto me. This is enrolled by the words of Isaiah. A prince most bold shall he be, and king with crown, set on David's throne. Such was never none seen with R.E.
Also, Isaiah says, our fathers us told that a virgin should pass of Jesse that would bring forth by grace a flower so bold. That virgin now has these words uphold, as ye see. Trust it now we may. He is born this day. Exit verga de radicit Jesse.
Of him spake more Sibyl, as I ween, and Nabuchodonosor from our faith Aline. In the furnace where they were 3 children seen, the 4th stood before God's son like to being.
That figure was given by revelation that God would have a son. This is a good lesson us to consider.
Of him spake Jeremy and Moses also, where he saw him by a bush burning. Lo, when he came to espy if it was so, unburned was it truly at coming thereto. A wonder.
That was for to see her holy virginity, that she unfiled should be. Thus can I ponder, and should have a child. Such was never seen.
Peace, man, thou art beguiled. Thou shalt see him with een of a maiden so mild. Great marvel, I mean. Yea, and she unfiled, a virgin clean, so soin.
Nothing is impossible, soothly, that God will. It shall be stable, that God will have done.
Habakkuk and Ely prophesied so. Elizabeth and Zachary, and many other more, and David as verily is witness thereto. John Baptist, certainly, and Daniel also.
So saying, he is God's son alone. Without him shall be none. His seat and his throne shall ever be lasting.
Virgil in his poetry said in his verse, even thus, by grammar as I shall rehearse, Iam nova progenies celo demititur alto, iam rediet Virgo redeunt Saturnia regna.
Nay, Mayturd, what speak ye here in mine ears? Tell us no clergy, I hold you of the friars. Ye preach, it seems, by your Leighton. You have learned your Caton.
Hark, sirs, ye phone, I shall you teach. He said, from heaven a new kind is send, whom a virgin to Nevin, our miss to amend, shall conceive full even. Thus make I an end. Oh, and yet more to Nevin, that Saturn shall bend unto us with peace and plenty, with riches and many, good love and charity blended amongs us.
And I hold it true, for there should be, when that king comes new, peace by land and sea.
Now, brother, adieu. Take tent unto me. I would that we knew of this song so free of the angel. I hard by his Stephen, he was sent down from heaven.
It is truth that in heaven I heard him well spell.
Now by God that me bought, it was a merry song. I dare say that he brought 24 to along.
Would it were thought that same us among?
In faith I trow not, so many he throng on a heap. They were gentle and small, and well tuned withal.
Yea, but I can them all. Now list I leap.
Ha! Break out your voice, let's see as ye yelp.
I may not for the post, but I have help.
Ah, thy heart is in thy hose.
Now in pain of a scalp, this song thou not lose.
Thou art an ill whelp for anger.
Go to now, begin.
He list not well rin.
God let us never blind. Take it my sanger.
Angelus ad virginem sub intrans in conclave. Ah, now an end have we done of our song this tide.
Fair fool, thy groan, well hast thou hied.
Then, forth let us run. I will not abide.
No light makes the moon that I have espied. Nevertheless, let us hold our behest.
That hold I best.
Then must we go east, after my guess.
Would God that we might this young bab see.
Many prophets that sight desired verily to have seen that bright.
And God, so he would show us that white, we might say, perdie, we had seen that many saint desired with prophets inspired. If they him required, yet closed are their een.
God grant us that grace.
God so do.
Abide, sirs, a space. Lo, yonder, lo! It comes on a race, yon starn, us too.
It is a great blaze. Our gate, let us go. Here he is.
Who shall go in before?
I nay reck, by my whore.
Ye are of the old store. It seems you, 'twas.
Hail, King, I thee call. Hail, most of might. Hail, the worthiest of all. Hail, Duke. Hail, Knight. Of great and small, thou art Lord by right. Hail, perpetual. Hail, fairest white. Here I offer. I pray thee to take, if thou would, for my sake. With this may thou lake, this little spruce coffer.
Hail, little tiny mop, rewarder of mead. Hail, but one drop of grace at my need. Hail, little milksop. Hail, David's seed. Of our creed thou art crop. Hail in Godhead. This ball that thou would receive, little is that I have, this will thou vouchsafe to play thee withal.
Hail, maker of man. Hail, sweeting. Hail, so as I can. Hail, pretty mighting. I couch to thee then for fain ear greeting. Hail, Lord, here I ordain, now at our meeting, this bottle. It is an old byword, for it is a good board for to drink of a god. It holds a meat pottle.
He that all mights made the maker of heaven, that is for to say, my son that I never reward you this day as he set on all on 7. He grant you Frey his blissful even continuing. He give you good grace till forth of this case. He speed your pass and grant you good ending.
Farewell, fair lord, with thy mother also.
We shall this record, whereas we go.
We mun all be restored. Oh, God grant it be so.
Amen to that word. Sing we thereto on height. To joy all same, with mirth and game, To the Lord of this lamb sing we in sight.
And
Gloria, Gloria, in excelsis Deo.
And thus ends this shepherd play. Yeah, we've got quite a few songs now. They're building up. The shepherd sings several times. We have the Song of the Angel. There's an angel song. That's not unknown. That turns up pretty much every one. In this particular version, it leads them to go into a deep dive on prophecy and foretelling of the coming of Jesus there. It's interesting, the different reactions to Angel Song. In Chester, they spend quite a long time just going, how did it go? Oh, no, I think it went glue, gla. That was it. Yes, it was. Whereas here, yeah, they really go into a deep dive. It's got to be when you're shepherding. You've got obviously a lot of free time. There's obviously a very good local library for them to check up on all these prophecies. They really know all the prophecy stuff. So yeah, they know it. And First Shepherd, bit of Latin as well. Bit of Latin from First Shepherd. Yeah, Angela.
I just thought it was funny that John the Baptist cropped up along with all those other Old Testament prophets. So that whole time thing, that we're all saved, and yet here we are being saved and everything. It was just brilliant.
Yes. John the Baptist, who might have been just about born now. I mean, they're pretty much contemporaries. Is he slightly older? I think he's supposed to be slightly older than Jesus, but not by much. So yeah, they're really in on that. Liza.
What astounds me is that the first shepherd has read Virgil.
Yeah.
And quotes him in Latin, and this is what sets Towneley apart from other mystery plays, is that the other two then take the piss out of him for having spoken Latin, and are like, how do you know that?
And it's got all those friars. You sound like a friar. Hold on, how can there be friars already?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And again, that's sort of part of the whole thing, the shtick that we've got of that mock solemnity about the meal earlier is there's a real sense of them all working together and pulling with bants, as it were. Eric.
Well, we haven't had the traditional sort of what's called Mary and Joseph looking for a place to stay and that kind of thing, which is interesting because like the shepherds are so much more interesting than the hey, where are we going to stay tonight? I don't know.
Yeah, Towneley does not have a nativity. We don't have it. We have the...
Well, we have the shepherds... both of the shepherds' plays end in the stable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, but we don't have them going to... We don't have suddenly, ta-da, here is a baby moment. They arrive, the baby has been born, so there is no nativity play itself. There is the post-nativity stuff, but no, it's not included in the manuscript for reasons we will never know. Who knows? Other things anyone wants to throw in? Eric.
I was kind of amused that they were kind of like, was there something in the drink? I mean, they didn't say it explicitly, but it's kind of like, what just happened? Like with the angel. Kind of like, yeah, I don't know. There's a part of me going, maybe they were smoking something.
They didn't see an angel, they were just high. Angela.
It's just struck me as well that, because, we know that they gave gifts according to what they had. And in the hymn, they give a lamb. All I have is a lamb. They haven't got any sheep. So they have to give them a bottle and a ball. Actually, that seems to me much more realistic for medieval period, because a sheep would be an incredibly valuable thing to give away to a child.
Yeah, the odd bit of fruit, a ball. I'm trying to think of the other nativity plays, the shepherds plays. But yeah, they're giving something.
In the second shepherd's play, one of them gives a bird, and then the other one, second shepherd, I think, still gives a ball. And he's like, oh, you can play tennis with this.
Yes.
And I forget what the third gift is.
Is it a bob of cherries?
Yes, a bob of cherries.
Which connects with the whole Mary cherry tree incident that we have in N-Town, possibly. Yeah, so we got a spruce little coffer, a ball, and a bottle, which may or may not be the same bottle from earlier.
And a bottle of ale that we already drank.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you can keep things in it. It'll be useful for later on. And I wonder if that's has a sort of connectivity with gold, frankincense, and myrrh later on. Whether there's a bottle for the thing and a ball of this and a box for that, or whether there's a visual dimension that might connect. That's a stretch, by the way. I'm just reaching.
There may be a visual. There's almost certainly a symbolic dimension. I think the ball is both a child's toy and it signifies the world.
And say Mary thanks them, which is nice. In York doesn't say a thing, does Mary? Mary doesn't usually say a lot during Shepherd's plays. Usually just thank you very much. Do come again.
Never mind the myrrh next time.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Shepherds at this time? I say it's a fun little one. It does all the things. I've enjoyed it a lot. I usually everyone enjoys the Shepherds. You can't, they're always fun. Stephen.
I was just thinking about the journeys. That's all. The way in which is sort of like, let's go. Oh, what's this then? They sort of bump into the manger, as it were.
Yes. They see the star. It's a great blaze. Let us go. Here he is. I also quite like the hesitancy about going in. It's like, who goes in first? I don't want to go first. No, you go first. You're down as first shepherd. You go in first.
I haven't got a name. I won't survive the episode.
Hang on, who's wearing red?
So yes, just before we go into final thoughts, just a note: this is a Shepherd's play. The manuscript then delivers us another of the same. There is then another Shepherd's play. Later editors have called them, for reasons, first and second Shepherd's play. So we've just done what later people have called the first Shepherd's play. This is the second Shepherd's play has already been done. Liza and et al. Did it around Christmas time last year. So you can, if you're watching this on the playlist, it's up next. If you're scrolling through the videos in order, it's a long way back. You just keep going, just keep scrolling.
Back in December, I think, but you may hear the dulcet tones of Stephen and Eric, as well as many other excellent people in that video.
So next time we will return, not with another Shepherd's play. We will be returning with the Offering of the Magi, in the reasonable foreseeable future. But before we do that, we should finish this video first. Any final thoughts around the room, Eric? Of all of the plays now that we've looked at today, and Towneley generally, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think I like this Shepherd's play. I mean, I like the other one as well, which was kind of a bit random, but like now that I know where it connects in the story, it makes much more sense. This one seems really more human compared to the other ones, which are very postury kind of.
This one is you're much more conventional than the other one in the Towneley manuscript, which goes off on a flight of fancy, and is slightly longer as well. It's a good 20 minutes. It's a chunky old play, whereas this one's briefer. Any other thoughts about any other of the plays we've looked at today? Not just Shepherds, the Annunciation, Joseph. Any final thoughts on any of those? Eric, I'm still looking at you.
I was distracted by the cat, and I don't know. I think they seem to be like really fast paced because, well, as I said before, because of the rhyme as well. But yeah, I don't know. Just they're quite a nice change from the crucifixion that we did this afternoon.
Yes. This afternoon we literally did the crucifixion from York. So yeah, tonally we're in quite a different place at the moment.
Yeah, but also it was quite like it just feels much easier to read this as well.
It has to say the text does flow very nicely. Stephen, do you have any final thoughts?
Not really, no, not at all. I mean, it's just, I suppose, Eric's point, it makes me think about how the plays function, that you would not necessarily see them all every year, but you would come back to them. And so you would get that sort of accumulating sense of what the whole thing is about. And it's interesting to think of a sequence of plays being designed not necessarily to make all their sense on one viewing, but something that would just become richer over time. Because the idea of going more than once to a play nowadays is quite a weird one, isn't it? So I think that's really interesting. What Eric said made me think of that, and my own sort of sense of, having read a few more of these in performance, and the way in which there seem to be performance traditions of how to do these things, and different places do them slightly differently. So we've got a sort of we've got another sense of how different people encountered the same material, but also a sense of what kind of theatricality they had.
Yes, one feels the sheep business could be an expansion from a seed that grew because it's just nicely silly. And if everybody knows it's coming and everybody just starts doing sheep impressions, and any incomers to the town just go, "What the hell is everyone doing?" Because there's no explicit cue for it. Again, this is not actual truth. These are just random thoughts from me there. Angela, any final thoughts?
No, but I agree with Eric. It did come over as a tremendously human. I thought that there were several engaging characters there. It was really nice. It was fun, and that's very interesting what Stephen was saying about it being performed in a very particular place where everybody knows each other. And what a difference that would make, especially if it happens time and time again.
Yeah. Liza, any final thoughts?
Just, what people have been saying about the very human quality of the speech in this cycle, not just the shepherds, but also people like that lovely little scene between Mary and Elizabeth, where it seems to me that Mary's line to Elizabeth, you're with child now in eld, say, and if that happened, like, the older a pregnant woman was, the more in danger her life was. Unless she was very, very young indeed, but yeah, so that kind of has a lovely human feeling to it. We both know God is going to see them both all right, but yeah, it's a nice cycle. Even Caesar Augustus is a fun part.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like it's not quite there in terms of everything else, but it's there's some good dialogue in it, and it's nice. And it feels like if there is more to it, that it would have been lovely to see it, if that is the case.
Yeah, I think they should have really given Sirinus a more entertaining name, perhaps a Latin reference to some part of his anatomy.
Yes. And on that note, we're going to close the session. As say, if you want to continue, you can straight away. The video is already there. It was recorded ages ago, and so you can go straight on to the next one. Play 13 as ordered, approximately, depending on which version you're looking at. Hopefully, we will return soon with some Magi. I think it's time to start doing some gift giving. Really go out and do some proper shopping. Thanks to all the readers. Thanks to everyone, and goodbye.